Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Andrea Zenz, and I'm one of the product managers here at Standard Imaging. On behalf of myself and my colleagues, we would all like to welcome you and thank you for attending our webinar series. Just a note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for viewing on our website shortly. Attendees are in listen-only mode, but you are encouraged to type questions you might have into the question box on your webinar console. I'll do my best to answer as many as possible at the end of the talk. Just a quick minute about Standard Imaging. We are based in Middleton, Wisconsin. We were founded in 1989. We design and manufacture a full suite of QA products for radiation therapy, and we truly are pleased to partner with you now and in the future to meet your QA needs. Since we can't see each other in person at the moment, I'll take a quick minute to show and tell you a bit about myself. I'm the mother of 3 wonderful young adults, a longtime Standard Imaging employee. I am currently a product manager for QA Pilot, which we're talking about today as part of QA Fusion, as well as our QA stereo checker for CyberKnife and Linac Machine QA, and our brachytherapy solutions, as well as stereotactic phantoms. And outside of working, I enjoy, and my family, my passion really is to build kaleidoscopes and to make jewelry from a variety of materials. Currently, due to still working from home due to COVID, my art room is actually my home office. So now to the business at hand. Today we are going to talk about QA Fusion with QA Pilot, fast, easy, smart QA management. So if you are a physicist attending this chat, or you are the colleague of a physicist, you know only too well that you have an enormous to-do list. From scheduling, performing, analyzing the QA routines, managing equipment, sites, machines, people, maintaining spreadsheets, calibrations, maintenance agreements, and preparing for accreditation, audits, patient checks, and so much more. So really, what is it that QA Fusion with QA Pilot can do for you? We help you gain efficiency in streamlining communications, security using triple encrypted Amazon Web Services. This is a web-based product. Data, documents, procedures at your fingertips for regulatory and departmental review, making compliance easy. Accountability with dashboard summaries, reports, email alerts, and so on. And vendor neutrality at not only at the Linac level, but we're talking about QA devices as well, even though we would love that you stick with Standard Imaging, because we do believe, and I know from 15 plus years experience here, that we build incredibly reliable and robust equipment for you to use. So QA Pilot is a web-based software as a service. So what does that actually mean for your facility? It means lower entry costs, lower maintenance costs, lower hardware costs, scalability, and improved operational performance. We're doing a lot of streamlining. The entry point is easy, cost-effective way to really start. And just instead of a software investment that costs you tens of thousands of dollars and an annual maintenance fee on top of that, it is software as a service, so an annual maintenance fee only. During these times, we are still working remotely, and that means we still need to remain efficient. And you can do that with QA Pilot, where we certainly help you analyze, review, and approve QA from wherever you are. You can oversee your clinic's machine schedules, share documents, track machine and your QA devices via machine logs, and work continually, even if you're not in the office, on patient safety improvements through our incidence learning, prepare and manage those accreditations and audits, many of which are also online these days. What QA Pilot does not do, because it's important to note this as well, It does not limit the number of users. It does not contain patient data or information. It does not require the replacement of QA devices. It does not require software reinstallation for every update. It does not limit custom tests to simple pass-fail or text fields. So we'll show you a little bit about that. So in the broad sense, that's the overview of QA Pilot, but what does all this mean? What do we mean by QA Fusion? Well, it's the seamless integration of QA data from products like PIPS Pro. This is a shot here on the left of the PIPS Pro dashboard, results from your TG142 Imager and Machine QA, which is automatically uploaded to assigned schedules within QA Pilot without user intervention. That is one level of it. So it's also the QA management platform that really helps you simplify scheduling, oversight, and communication. The management of QA devices is handled with ease in QA Pilot as it provides one location for equipment calibration information and scheduling, assigning tasks with regards to maintenance and contract renewals, and service repair tracking. It also means performing QA tasks with our devices and having that data integrated into QA Pilot. Again, while QA Pilot is vendor neutral and you can bring in data from other vendors' products, using Standard Imaging's robust and reliable QA devices is a sure way to ensure that your QA is done with precision and accuracy. So what is it that QA Pilot and QA Fusion can do for you? Pretty much everything on that original list I showed you. It does not, however, have patient QA. So let's take a look at the software. Let's go to one of these screens that we have open here. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. So one of the questions that I often get is, does QA Pilot, do you have to see everything in there because it's a very vast management tool, or do we have different types of users and what they can see? And here, for example, I'm logged in on this site as a therapist. So the therapist has a shortened schedule. So these are the only sections within the full QA Pilot menu that they can see. And then it is assigned by whether it's site or a specific machine within a location. They'll only see the QA that is there. And when they're looking at it, they can see today's QA, it's due today. Their monthly QA is coming up, and this temp one, it's, yes, well overdue, but this is sort of my playground to show you a bunch of special things. So I'm not concerned about that. Also from this home page, you can perform QA, you can look at the reports, and you can view trending. Now I'm going to go over to show you what it looks like more from the full physicist, authorized physicist, chief physicist type of view. What do the physics administrators see? They see all of the machines, all machine types. That's a lot to look at, so simply collapse and look at one specific thing that you may be interested in. And again, you see anything that's overdue, about to be due, can access reports, can perform QA, all of those types of things. You also have an expanded menu here because as an physics administrator, you are responsible for analyzing things that are happening across centers. You are responsible for managing QA. And each time I click on one of these items here, you see that there are subsequent menus underneath those, which is where you actually set things up and get them going. For example, machine logs, if I'm going into there, this is where I would set up everything that then the therapist or some other individual using the product can, that is of the right authority to be able to use or enter a machine log item. The schedule up here is organized according to the things that you would do on a daily basis. So my schedules, this is where I'm going to be performing my QA. Again, as a chief physicist or a regional physicist responsible for multiple locations, multiple LINACs. The review page is really your home page where you can get a very quick dashboard summary of what's going on. You can see for the different hospitals, the status of QA that has been performed, whether it passed, had a warning you need to take a look at, requires more immediate action, is in progress, all of those types of things. You can go quickly into any one of these and see what's going on. For example, if I choose the energy worksheet, this has been started. This is one of the great things built into QA Pilot, is the fact that we built in the TG51 worksheets. So per energy, you're looking at what energy you're using. You're assigning a specific ion chamber and electrometer. Much of this information is built in the management of actual devices. So it auto-populates when you make a selection. Much of these things also are set up under your LINAC to know what SSD, what field size you're using, so on and so forth. And then what measurements may have been entered. At this point, it's still in process, so we haven't actually taken any measurements with our ion chamber and electrometer, but these things would be entered in here instead of into a separate spreadsheet or any type of checklist. Again, going back to the review page, we also have machine logs. Now, I referenced this before. This is the location. Traditionally, when we think machine log, we're thinking the LINAC. Did something happen to my LINAC, and do I want to track that service outage? When service came in, what's going on, what may have been done. If you click into any one of these, again, it has been started. You can enter any new comments that you might want to make about where it's at, whether the machine is down or not. Say maybe it's not down anymore. Work has been done and completed. You know, something simple like that. We don't need to notify a vendor anymore. We can resolve the status of this. We can say it's resolved. We can also add an attachment. That's something also extremely powerful in QA Pilot, whether it's an individual test, whether it's within the documents section, within the machine logs or the ILS, you have the opportunity to attach documents, therefore providing you the audit record under one roof. If you, for example, are being audited, as I mentioned, there are different user rights and responsibilities. You can actually provide your auditor with a guest login, and then all they can see are the reports and documents. So these attachments become important. They are available for review at that time. Don't have to pull out a whole bunch of binders, don't have to maintain a bunch of spreadsheets, don't need to pull out your procedural manuals. You can keep all that information in here. You can submit this, and that should remove that. And notice that this is also the history of other machine incidents that may have happened. Again, it does not have to be the actual LINAC. It can be your QA beam checker. Maybe you're extending your extended annual maintenance is due. You can create a task. You can also create a machine log, and you can track it then, and it will appear on your review page. If you do it as a task under the equipment, it will appear under equipment versus under the machine log. So we give you a variety of ways in order to make the product work for you within your system. So again, in sort of answering the question, how does QA Pilot help me manage my radiation oncology department, especially the physics team? This is some of the ways that you can do it. You can see what's going on in a quick overview. You can access reports, and the reports never go away, so they're always here. This is, again, a place if there have been any comments made where you're going to see it very quickly. You can go into any of those that you may want to look at in order to see what's going on. As for example, go into a TG, one of the spreadsheets that's actually been completed here for the energies, who performed it, green checks on the electrometer ion chamber readings. In this case, the delivered dose didn't come out within the tolerance we were expecting, so we went back to the LINAC, made an adjustment, and again, you have an opportunity to enter in adjustment readings. You take a measurement after the adjustment, and then make sure that your final dose per MU in water is within the tolerances that you have established. How else do you manage your department? Oops, that one didn't like that for whatever reason. Let's go over to a different one. Our document section here. This is where, again, you have the opportunity to overview what kind of documents you've got in here. You can upload anything. It can be images, it can be spreadsheets, it can be PDF documents. You also have the opportunity to revision those. So if you have a particular procedure that you follow for brachytherapy and there's been an update because you've added, maybe you've only done HDR so far, but now you're adding a seed implant program. Well, that procedure for your seed implant program can be housed here. You can version it. And then the really nice thing is that you can also assign it to people to sign off in your department. So it's another way to help manage your department and keep track of what's going on. So you can decide who is assigned to this document and who needs to sign off on it by role, by center, by individual LINACs, if you so desire, and you can give them a sign-off date and send an email message saying this is a must review, signal me when you have completed this task. Again, a great way to manage whether you're in the office or not. As well, for managing your department, we have an incidence learning log. And I'm really keen on this type of thing because process improvement is important no matter what job you do. Your administrators would be very interested in this, as physicists, as radiation oncologists. Everyone in your team is interested in this because it's all about patient safety and making sure we're doing the best job we possibly can to deliver patient treatment safely. So for process improvement, if you have an instance, you probably have a committee or a team that reviews that maybe on a quarterly basis. You have an opportunity to say, hey, look, we see that we've had, 5 of these near misses. What can we do to improve so that we can catch this and make it part of the workflow? Does it need to be added to a checklist? Do we need to add a test within a template? What do we need to do to make sure we eliminate these close calls, or things that we're tracking? They don't necessarily need to be super close calls, but any type of thing that you want to track. And then you can say, okay, well, let's implement that. You documented it in your documentation area. You make sure people sign off on it. You review the next quarter and like, hey, we reduced this type of incident down to just 2 or maybe 1. Or on the other side, if you have the same number, then you can go, well, what we implemented doesn't seem to be working. Why is that? You can do some investigative work. You can change up the way the procedure's been implemented, all kinds of things that really help you target the needs that you have. So again, that's another way for managing. Another great thing that's really useful for everybody, because people ask, how do I get started? Well, you want to get started here in the guide. Notice it's an online wiki, so whether you're at home, at the office, you're in between locations, please don't read while you're driving, but it's an opportunity for you very easily to go in and see how to perform anything within the program. But this is, of course, in addition to standard imaging help. We are here to help people get started. Our recommendation is always to start with one LINAC. And what does that mean, get started? Well, this is where we actually manage a bunch of our tools. So as an authorized physicist, You're going to be able to see your sites, machines, users, measurement equipment. This is a great place with a dashboard. Each of these actually have dashboards so that you can see who are my users, what type of users do I have, what are my measurement devices. It looks like a long list, so maybe I only want to look at what's going on at Maple Hospital. There are filters built in everywhere for you to be able to zoom in, hone in on what's really important right away. But getting started has everything to do with templates. So what do we mean with templates? Well, we don't want you to start with nothing. So we've taken a look at TG 142. What are all the tests and all of the tables? We've created a bunch of preset templates for you to use, whether that's TG 142 daily, monthly, annual. Notice that presets, you're allowed to view the tests that are there and copy these, but you cannot modify the presets. They are what come with the software. If you want, notice we also have presets for HDR, for example. So for brachytherapy, what kinds of tests do we have within this template? So it's a great way to view all of those things. If you want to modify, then usually I do that over here in my playground area, if you will. So once you've copied a template, you're like, well, this one works, that one doesn't work. I need to do a few extra things because we have some special procedures. Once you know what type of LINAC it's assigned to, then this is the beauty of this software. Everything to do with templates and custom tests. So what we started with, the origins of this product, was TG142 and all of those tables. So we divided it up by each of those tables. You have a variety of dosimetry tests depending on what kind of QA equipment you're using. Notice we've got PTW listed in here. We would want these two if we're looking at using our QA Beam Checker Plus. So you can select individual tests, or you can select an entire group of tests very simply. When you add a test, notice it just comes down here and adds to the bottom of your list. But we do not want to say, okay, users, we give you this software. It's inflexible. It's difficult to use. No. What we want to do is, okay, this is a product that is customizable to your department and your department needs. So if I need to do this daily dosimetry before my multi-leaf collimation, then I'm going to move it. If that's what I want to do. If I want to remove the test, I can remove the test. So on the left is everything that's available to you. On the right is what you've selected for a particular template. The other great thing is, do we want you to have to keep reinventing the wheel after you've created a custom type test? No, of course we don't. So since we started with TG142, those are listed first, but as you create custom tests or groups of tests, they are added as well to the bottom of the list of available tests, and they can be assigned to any schedule or any template that you want, and those templates then get assigned to particular machines, particular clinics, and you decide the frequency. Even though we may have dosimetry daily, you may use certain tests in there on a weekly basis, so you'll create a weekly template instead, but put those tests, because they've already been created and you do not want to reinvent the wheel, and make sure that that's part of your template. So some of the custom tests, again, my playground here is the laser section. We've created some average tests, and notice the little eye says you can take a look. What is this going to look like? Well, in this case, we're looking at various regions, taking various readings, and it's going to average this. Or we have a uniformity difference compared to a center region. Oops, that's wrong. Click on that. What does that look like? You know, we select we've already selected which positions we're looking at, and for each of those, we're going to enter a value, and it's going to give us a difference. So a lot of these things are built. They're great. And you'll notice that I've labeled these very simply. You have an average type test, as we looked at. You can do a ratio type of test. You can do a common deviation test, which we've looked at. So there's like some dose to a target. We can look at that one. So this is one where it's doing an addition. So we've added in a bunch of functionality within our custom test to add math functionality. What does that actually look like? Best thing probably to do, we can go over here once again to my laser playground. This is a variety of tests. So we have, when you add a test, you have a variety. If you're doing a numeric, whether you're going to have a single value, average, sum, or standard deviation. If you're doing a ratio test, what is your numerator? What is your denominator? Are you using a common denominator? Do you want to average your numerators? Lots of things like that. File attachment is also awesome. This is something where you can, within your template, you create a test that says, insert this file here, whether that is a report, whether that's an image, anything that may be a screenshot from the console, if that's something that's useful, and then you can make a test that's simply a file attachment, giving it a name, giving it a quick description, and then render it in line. That means, will you show that exact image within the schedule that I'm performing, or do you want to click no and it'll just be, here's a box you can click on in order to view that attachment. So lots of flexibility built in here, which is really amazing. And to show you what some of that looks like, because this is really the meat and potatoes of this product and all of the work that we have been doing recently, way more than I'm just going to create a pass-fail type test. Down here at the bottom, I've got some of these created here. So we've got a deviation test where we've got a common value for the center, and what is my difference for each of those. Here I've created a ratio test where we're doing using our, for example, averaging readings from our electrometer, and we're using the Supermax, which has 2 channels. So what is I want to ratio my channel 1 and channel 2, just to get that information. If you want to do an average, maybe it's a dynamic wedge type thing. Uniformity from center, again, another one where we're using a common value, but we're looking at different positions and we're calculating values and scoring them against a baseline. Output constancy we're measuring here. But down here, for example, we've got some other ones where we build in tables and we can do multiple functions within that table. So right here, we're doing an average of readings 1 and 2, but then we're also calculating a standard deviation. Another one we're doing here, we have a variety of gantry angles, energies with different buildup caps. And then we've got all this data in this table, but then we want to individually average 6 MV versus 10 MV versus 6 FFF versus 10 FFF. So these are all built out and built in very simply. Again, you use QA Pilot in place of a spreadsheet, and put your values in here, and everything is stored and reported on. So I think that is a pretty good review of the product for today. I'll quickly hop back to our PowerPoint presentation here, and just let you know, give you a minute to write in any questions that you have. I'll look for those in just a moment. And just as a reminder, in the meantime, while you're getting a hot minute to write in those things, ask you to join us next week for the second part of QA Fusion, where Hugh will talk about independent imager and machine QA with regards to TG 142. And if you have additional questions or want an in-depth dive, because again, there is a breadth and serious amount of depth to our QA Pilot product and our QA Fusion family of products. So reach out to us. You can reach sales@standardimaging.com. You can contact me at any time, or you can go to our website. If you've created a login, there are a variety of documents, videos, reports, all kinds of things that you can also view from our website. So please take advantage of that. And now I'll take a quick minute to see if I see any questions. I do not. Ashley, if you see any, let me know. But otherwise, I'm going to say hopefully this whirlwind tour of the product whets your appetite to learn more. And I encourage you deeply to reach out anytime to let us know how we can be of assistance, how we can help you make sure that you are working efficiently, quickly, and in-depth QA. So thank you so much for attending. I appreciate all of your time. Join us again next week, and thank you. Have a great day.